Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Hope everyone is doing well. I think everything's set up okay. Every week it's a challenge. Hey, Unknown Girl. Hey, K5. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being in the chat. Quite a weekend. Starting on Friday, quite a weekend in Japan. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I had a loss. Someone that I've been working with for a long time. I was actually running his website. Passed away. The writer and critic for cartoons and comic books, R.C. Harvey, passed away the end of last week. So I'm in the process of trying to convert we had a subscription website so you could read his work, and I'm in the process of converting it over to just an archive, to just like a donation supported archive, so all of his stuff stays online and available. So that's been really sad. He was very mentally still very together. His writing was amazing, and now there won't be any more of it. So that was very hard, a very hard hit. And the same day, that happened, the ex-prime minister of Japan was shot. It's funny too. The American press, I guess, like NPR or whatever, had some really derogative kind of like thing to say. The controversial, very divisive, very he was not divisive at all in this country, and there's much less animus and hatred for politicians here. It's just kind of an accepted evil, and politicians don't get insanely rich from influence peddling and stuff the way that they do in America. I mean, to a different extent. I mean, there is, of course, it's all built in. South Korea has a legendary reputation of having to imprison their prime ministers after their term is up because they've done so many illegal things during their time in office. But Japan isn't quite like that, and I guess because he's considered the party that he's part of is considered conservative, but it was a real necessary part of Japan not completely tanking since the 90s. So it's funny though. America tries to write its own political nonsense because this is a kind of parliamentary system, diet. They call it the diet. So the system here is the party. You vote for your party in an election. Local elections, I guess you are voting because the party puts forward their candidate. So you're voting for a face in more local elections. But nationally, you're voting for a party, and then they put forward the prime minister. More similar to the British system, and so there's much less of this nonsense. This my team, your team, the team that's the team. I just said it. The party, sorry, the party that's been in power has been in power for quite a while, and they had a weird time. So Abe was actually prime minister back in the 20-teens. But had health issues, and so he stepped down very quickly, I think only after a year or two. And then he was chosen again more recently, and then stepped down again because of health issues in 2020. But it's funny to hear, because Abe worked with anybody. He worked with America, he worked with China, and so there's pictures of him with Trump. So, of course, he must be a villain because there's a picture of Abe and Trump playing golf. So of course he's a villain. So America's ridiculous political drama doesn't really work when applied to other countries and other situations. So that might be giving you, if you're reading that might be giving you a very skewed view, because he was the longest term prime minister and was responsible for stabilizing the Japanese economy in a very brutal kind of deflation time. So he doesn't he's not despised or not controversial. There wasn't anything. I mean, he was a little bit the only thing about him that was maybe a little scandalous or people were concerned about is he had an affiliation to a kind of nationalistic kind of, we want Japan to have more than just a defense force. They wanted Japan to rewrite the wartime constitution or the post-war constitution and have a standing army again. So he was pro that, but the government itself was constructed in a way that that's not going to happen easily. So that never became an issue. So that was, if anybody had any concerns here, that would be the thing that probably most concerned them, is that he would have, given the opportunity, militarized Japan again. Which is very odd then that his assassin was a former Defense Force member. So he was a Japanese military. I think he was in the Navy, the equivalent of the Navy. So that makes it even more odd. And I guess as far as the there's very little information, and the only really reported motive, because the gunman said it wasn't political, I didn't do it because of politics. He had assumed that Abe had some connection to this cult-like religious group that his mother was heavily devoted to. I guess his father was out of the picture. He lived with his mother, and she blew all of their money with donations to this religious group and bankrupted the family. And so that really messed him up, and he was basically living alone, no job or anything when he started his little plan. And somehow he connected Abe, Abe had donated to this group or done something that in his mind associated him with this group, and that was the reason. That's all they're telling us, and that could be completely a diversion. Who knows? He sounds pretty, mentally unstable from, reports of what his lifestyle was like and everything. And of course, they found a studio apartment full of handmade blunderbusses. Essentially, it was basically like pipe bombs with an electric trigger with an open end. So there was a wadding, he packed it like a muzzle loaded single shot rifle, and it had batteries and wiring connected to it, so it had an electronic trigger. Crazy. Yeah, so it's a very strange time, and the location of the shooting was very close to us. It was a place where I used to have to regularly go to meet students, and the bigger shopping area is there and everything. So we walked that crosswalk that he was giving that speech in. We walked hundreds of times. So it was very strange to see that on the news. And it's only because this, older, poorer part of Japan, less, developed, more farms and temples side of Japan, and it doesn't have the kind of built-in facilities to have high security situations. And I guess they weren't expecting any sort of trouble. And they really set him up so that there was basically an open road, a construction area, and an open road behind where he was giving a speech. So anybody had very easy access, and the guy just walked down the road, kind of mingled in the few people that were in the crowd there, and then just looked for his chance. And he'd been looking for his chance previously, too. He had approached a couple of other events. But who knows? We're not going to get a very clear picture. The authorities are usually pretty opaque, and you don't get much of an explanation with a lot of crimes here. Criminals have a lot of rights, and victims have much less. So how always in America they blur the faces, they don't release the names of victims and things. It's kind of the opposite here, which is strange that because reputation and things is so much more important. But they give that benefit to the criminals, so they want to protect them from harassment or retaliation or whatever, which is very bizarre. So I don't know. what will happen. But yeah, the whole country's kind of in mourning now because it was very shocking. And this is probably the first gun assassination in the history of the country. There are, unlike what they're reporting on the American news, and I think even Biden was saying, we've had 6,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, whatever, gun, murders. They've had one. They've had one. That's not true. There are a few. I think a few months ago, a husband shot his wife. So you can get, small pistols and things illegally, of course, and do things with them. And there have been, and the funny thing is, it's almost all domestic violence situations. So there are domestic violence situations where I think before that, I think they were Chinese nationals though. But a few years ago, a man and a woman were sitting in a cafe. The man stands up, pulls out a small pistol, shoots his wife in the head, and leaves. So that, it happens here on a very, very small scale. But to say that, one, okay, one this week, maybe one, but in a year, it's not zero. And so they're, just don't pull Japan's numbers or their culture or anything into this stupid, gun debate going on in the U.S. because there's no way to, take anything from the situation here. It's just apples and mandarin oranges. It's very, apples and, tiny, what are they called? Mikan. Yeah, that's right. Japanese call it apples and mikan. It's got to feel so uncomfortable knowing how close it was. Yeah, it was really strange. The funny thing is we were all in the city. We were all the other direction because since my daughter's school has moved and stuff, we're all kind of more oriented the other direction. But when her school was closer, we were all, around. But yeah, it was very strange to have something like that happen really close. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very strange. And I think, and there's a pretty large number of, kind of strangely disenfranchised and mentally ill young men in Japan, and they have to just pay more attention. I mean, I think I've said before, they don't really believe in therapy or mental health, of any kind here. Very publicly or openly. I mean, there still are psychologists and drugs for mental illness, but it's very hidden. It's a very quiet, kind of hidden thing. So, but I think they need to make more of an effort to reach out and help some of these guys that are just doing weird stuff. And I guess because the numbers are so small, like when they finally get to the breaking point and they do something bizarre, those numbers are so small. I guess it's hard for a government to justify spending money on something like that. You just have to, every few years, have some kind of horrific, criminal act. And they always are, like, extra horrific, like extra bizarre. So it's, just a matter of them not seeing it worth it. Sorry. Shootings from bikers, of course, there are other. Yeah. It's much more. I mean, and they don't talk about where it's really happening and who it's really happening to. I mean, the numbers, they love to use those numbers of all the shooting deaths, and they don't talk about. Yeah, these are in communities that are under police, that are completely disenfranchised, that nobody actually cares about because they don't have. They've gerrymandered their little, voting districts around them to avoid, them having decent representation or funding from schools or anything. And, so it's America's weird social problem that they're not kind of facing up to. They're kind of built-in, terrible treatment of certain communities. And that's where all the gun violence is. And, they don't want to deal with that. And also we've imported some wonderful, America has imported some wonderful Mexican gangs and things. So there's all kinds of fun stuff going on in neighborhoods that are very, very under-policed. And I don't think that's the solution, but I'm just saying, they don't talk about, like, it's not a bunch of people in the suburbs or the countryside, shooting it out with each other. It's always the communities that are already dealing with crazy poverty and drugs and gang crime. But I don't know. There we go. But yeah, very unusual situation, and I'd never seen before. I guess because there hasn't been any crazy. Sorry. Aside from the Fukushima, the nuclear disaster, there hasn't been a crazy headline that they had to get out right away. But the newspapers in Japan, when there's some big event, they print really fast, like a front page, and they hand them out at the train stations and stuff. That was very interesting. I'd never seen that before, that like kind of analog old school style of getting out like really nationally important information. But there's a bunch of people in suits with a page of newsprint, a pile of newsprint pages like over their arm, and they're just handing them out to people, and they're big bold headlines and all the information about what's going on, the latest information about what's going on. And the thing is, the events evolve so quickly, and what they know immediately is so inaccurate that I can see why that's not the best thing to do. But it's funny how active newspapers here still are. So that was the first time I had seen that, is them handing out the front pages of an irregular update for the news. Yeah, really, really unusual. But yeah, I think that's really the thing in Japan, is they're just going to let people be lost because there's just not the damage that the toll that it takes, crime wise or whatever, just isn't worth it to dedicate government funds. It would have to be, a charitable organization, like an NGO or whatever they call it, like some sort of privately funded charity that actually would do something like that, because the government isn't just not going to. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. But yeah, so weird, weird stuff this weekend. Yeah, I got so much work to do to kind of retrofit everything for the RC Harvey website, and I got to do it before the members start worrying about what's going on, the subscribers. Yeah, that's amazing. And I was doing regular updates, like maybe every other week. We had these huge updates for that website, so I can't believe that's over. That was a pretty big part of my life for like 25 years. That's crazy. I think the website was just celebrating its 23rd year, but I'd known RC Harvey for 25. I think we met in 97. Crazy. Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Music for birds. That's great. Yeah, that must be a fun sound. Nice. Well, thank you, Unknown Girl. Your birds are helping my hours watched. That's great. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, you never know. It's like so hard to predict. What was the thing? I just heard a quote about the difference between reality and fiction is fiction has to make sense, because real events don't make any sense. There's no satisfying ending. There's no, climactic confrontation or anything. It's just a bunch of nonsense, and then it stops. Yeah, it's really crazy. All right. Well, I've got a little bit of a lag going here. Oh, I was just hearing that news about, I think it's been a few days now, but the Twitter deal isn't going through. As if anybody thought it would. It was. So I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if that's going to, because they were saying that already the stock price was headed down. So this is probably going to hurt it even more. And some of the big investors are going to be pretty unhappy that they had a chance to, get paid off, and it totally fell apart. Okay, so what's going on here? I've lost all my... There we go. Let's try. Oh, well. Strange. Yeah, I got a little delay here. Let me close. Oh, there's nothing really open. Yeah. Weird. Always surprised by what causes lack of memory. Well, what's going on? I'm having some pretty big lag problems. Oh, man. Okay, so everything should be fine. That should be making a line. What about the mouse? No, not that either. All right, well, we'll just wait and see what exactly is going on. How about some purge everything? I'm sure it's as always, it's Chrome choking everything. I thought I heard that they were going to release like a Chrome Lite, like they were going to be another version of the Chrome browser that wasn't such a memory leaking nightmare, or just resource hogging, I think is what's going on. Yeah, so Photoshop and Chrome are battling it out for the little memory that's on this PC. All right. But yeah, so I found a couple of fun kind of summer snacks. So this week it will be twisted, and not twisted as an evil, but twist churros, kind of little snacks. Yeah. Yes, surprisingly, cinnamon is not very popular in Japan. They rarely have, so the Starbucks here like rarely has drinks so they put cinnamon on the top. So there's a larger number of Japanese that don't like the taste of cinnamon, which is interesting because that means a lot of their apple pies and things aren't like cinnamon apple, which is unusual. I don't know why that is true. Okay, so what's going on with you, Photoshop? Am I, do we have some? Oh, there we go. It was just some weird mask. Okay. That's good. I was worried we were screwed. Yeah, sometimes if you accidentally control click something, you're selecting, some invisible, strange little area, so you can't draw on anything else. All right. Fun with Photoshop. Yeah, there's some really interesting, drawing programs. My daughter's using like some pretty interesting stuff, and I'm so reluctant to try to retrain myself. And I think the problem is too, like learning a program. This is a problem with all software, like graphic software and stuff. Is you should probably approach software where you have something you want to do and you get that software to do what you want, instead of looking at a new application, say, oh, what can I do with this? Having no ideas or no objective or no task, and playing around with all the tools and settings and things that you can do, and then just generating stuff that's basically, very obviously that version of that software, and you're not really. It's an odd thing. I'm trying to think of like a good analogy, but it's dangerous to not have a thing you want the software to do and just go in and try to learn stuff. That's why a lot of like tutorials and things that are just how to learn, Photoshop or After Effects or whatever, and I'm naming all Adobe things, or even 3D programs. I think that's the mistake I did with 3D, is I didn't have anything I wanted to make in 3D. I just wanted to learn the software and then, make things from there. But the tutorials and things that they give you, they're teaching you, techniques, but then a lot of like weird things unique to that software that really would have never even come up, or probably aren't even very useful ultimately to what you want to do. So you're very distracted with that, and it ends up kind of subverting your work. Your style or what you make ends up being more a product of the software than a product of your own creativity, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's always dangerous. So I've got to have a huge need for some look or style or something to change that Photoshop can't do. Because I think what I do in Photoshop is pretty, like making these cartoons, it's pretty transparent, and you wouldn't have any idea this, specifically was Photoshop. With how I'm doing this, it could be any graphics program. It just turns out that this was the one. This is the one I had when I started coloring the cartoon. But when you start to make stuff that looks like, I know exactly where that came from, that's not great. Yeah, the learning curve on Adobe is terrible, and especially Photoshop has so much it can do, and there's so many things that I've never used in Photoshop. I mean, it's very bloated because it's, photo editing, anything you can do to pixels basically, and then now even 3D and vector. Anything you can do with pixels, Photoshop can do, and has a lot of tools for, taking things out of photos and replacing things, and color grading, and all kinds of cleanup, and what's that called, photo where they take off all your freckles and smooth your skin out, and like enhancing or whatever. It's got a lot of those kind of tools, and for my purposes I've never needed that. And basically I just got stuck with Photoshop because in the early days, Photoshop, aside from the software, the free software that they gave you, Photoshop was the only way to bring a scan into a 3D program, or was like the easiest way. When they had that Twain Acquire, you could just scan things straight into Photoshop, and that was for animation and stuff. That was very useful, and you could just put stuff into layered files or whatever, much better than the whatever they bundled the software with. So that's why I think I got stuck with Photoshop. The catfish tool, yeah, right. there was a guy, he was good with Photoshop for graphics, but not for what's that called, photo correction or something. I forget what they call it. There's a name for it, because they hire people with that title. There's a kid that was really good at that at the graphics at the company that I was working at. He did a lot of like magazine cover kind of cleanup, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, he could make things look amazing, and they didn't look touched at all. Like they looked totally, it was totally invisible, the work that he did. But there was a guy that I was directly in the same office as I was, and he was divorced, so he was on this dating terror, and he was always putting putting his photos on, or putting pictures of himself for profile pictures on dating apps. And this is early days. This is like 90s, late 90s. So the apps are, who knows what even apps those were. But he made this picture of himself, and he was so heavy-handed in the correction and cleanup of it that it looked like an oil painting of him. It was so artificial and so weird, and he still sent it to people, sent it to women as his photo. and they responded to it like they couldn't even see how bizarrely artificial it was. It really freaked me out because it was almost like a it's so heavy-handed, like a velvet painting, like not even like, something slightly photorealistic. It was so all of the stuff he used to like smooth his skin and like to define muscles in his arms and stuff. It was painting, and he was a decent painter, but not. It wasn't photorealistic, and those pictures were so bizarre, and I guess because it's still early days of digital manipulation and digital art, and the term that was photoshopped didn't even really exist yet, because there was much less of that. And his photos were so funny. I couldn't believe, and also because he was modifying them so heavily, you could see like what he thought his flaws were. Like he was playing with his jawline so much and his eyes, and you could see like what he felt his flaws were that he was trying to fix in the in the photos. But they looked like paintings. It was so strange. Matt, how is it going? Yeah, blemishes. Yeah, what is that called? It's photo retouching. Retouching. I think it's called retouching. Yeah, that's the polite. They have to come up with some sort of polite term, right? But and there's some pretty advanced systems, that they came up for doing the magazine stuff. I think that's. But Photoshop has a lot of the, kind of. Yeah, I think it's retouching. But all magazine images and stuff, because they have to they have to grab you so well and make the subject of the photo look so perfect. And so when they show like before and after, you see they take every little line and every little beauty mark and stuff off of their face, and thin, like, and they've even caught people, even if they've either gotten the original photo or the correction was a little too much. They've caught people doing that, where they'll put a curve in someone's back, or slim down women's thighs, or give them thigh gap that didn't exist or whatever. And it's mostly like fashion magazine covers and stuff. But that's a real skill. There's a lot of like pretty crazy stuff that goes into that. So it was a guy that was really good at that. So he handled a lot of covers for magazines doing that. And the guy I worked with was not aware of how that happened. It's funny because it's so much you're measuring and you're taking samples of the photo, and then like selecting things and feathering them and laying them back down. Like it's a really interesting process, the kind of really complicated, really high level retouching, and you're doing it on such a large resolution that little weird things that happen, or little little areas that don't where you can tell something's been done get lost very easily. So it's that magazine stuff is pretty amazing, but it's also very evil because it gives people this false sense of how perfect you look. And for like billboards and stuff, it's all the same, any like print advertising. And so if that's a photo of you in some advertisement, you're not even going to recognize it. You're not even going to say, oh wow, I look great. It's just, that's not even you. You were the basis of some digital art. This digital art based on you. But I can't imagine anybody that has like their picture on a bus or whatever for fashion or cosmetics ever thinks, oh, that's me, because it hardly resembles a human being, like a real person. Yeah, I wish I could see those photos again. They were so bizarre. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and he was one of those guys too. There's so many of them in Los Angeles that use the I'm a photographer. Can I take your photo? And I think after like the number of famous murders by photographer boyfriends, you'd think that line would stop working, but at least when I was there were still guys using that line. And I love that they always would do that, waitresses and bartenders especially. Hey, Yum, how's it going? Would always, get that. Oh, I'm actually a photographer. Can I photograph you sometime? Yikes. Yeah, but I guess the reason that works is because of the crazy desire to be famous that exists in that town, and if anybody can, there's any chance that anybody can get you there, because a lot of the times the actual photographers, like the actual photographers with successful careers, they don't look the way you think they will look. They look pretty shitty. They look pretty unassuming. So if somebody approaches you, it's like, he could be somebody, maybe. All right. How's it going, Yum? Yeah, we're just talking assassinations, and it's all been death and doom and gloom the whole beginning of the stream here. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I think so. Matt on the weekly, maybe Matt in K5 remember. So I mentioned R.C. Harvey on the weekly because he had just been hospitalized, and yeah, I got I think it was Saturday. It was late Friday night, like early Saturday morning, that I got the email from his daughter that with from complications from the fall. He broke 6 ribs when he fell, and so that makes it, but didn't feel it right away. And I think that happens when you're older, because my wife's grandmother broke her hip. She fell and broke her hip and walked on it for like a whole day. And then at night she's like, why does I think her toes hurt or something. There was something very like strange. She was like complaining her toes really hurt, or her knee really hurt, but her whole hip was shattered. Her femur. Oh God, that's right. I remember seeing the X-ray. Her whole femur had shattered from a fall, and so I guess you don't feel it. I guess like really severe pain like works differently, like in older nervous systems, and so. So R.C. Harvey just had a family dinner. Fell before family dinner, felt fine, and then they found out later he broken 6 ribs, and so of course that means breathing is insanely painful. So they put you on heavy pain medication so you can breathe, but especially with older people, heavy pain medication also suppresses respiratory response, and maybe your autonomic or whatever gets a little bit slowed, so it's dangerous to do that. So if they're going to do the pain medication, they'll also put the patient on a respirator. So that means ICU. So that was very sad and scary. And that it would have been, had there been no other complications, it would have been a long, painful recovery anyhow. But yeah, there were just too many things working against him, which is it's very sad. I mean, he had such a brilliant mind. It sucks that at some point you can't just disconnect your body and let your mind like keep going for a while, because it's usually for a lot of people it's the opposite. Their body is still doing okay, and they've lost it. They can't remember things, and so it's a shame when it happens the other way and your body sabotages a good working brain. All right, I think I did those exact things, last week, so let's not do that. Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate, but because it was such, there wasn't a lot of pain, and his family, because he had just had a family dinner, and his daughters live in different parts of the country, his whole family was there, so it was the best situation to kind of pass away in your sleep with your family around you, kind of thing. That's as good as it gets. So but it's weird that he's been such a constant in my life for so long. That kind of stuff is so weird, and you don't even. It's funny because he also wrote an obituary column very regularly for the famous cartoonists and people that he knew in the business that had passed, because his whole generation was aging, and so he was always always writing about people's careers, and yeah, I was like, oh, I always get that creeping feeling that, oh, one of these days, one of these days, yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, but it's. I hope. I hope I can continue to make the website very useful and good for people, and also to kind of honor his memory. I was thinking about doing a photo section. So right now it's just going to be different categories and articles that he'd written, and then his ongoing column, kind of magazine that he produced, and I want to make that much more searchable. But I was thinking about doing like a photo section so people could submit photos, and we can have like a little memory archive, because he attended so many comics shows and like National Cartoonist Society award ceremonies and stuff. There's a lot of fun photos of him with a lot of people in cartooning. So we'll see. Something like that I think would be nice. What's that all about? All right. Yeah. I hope, because I noticed that, and I got that idea because somebody posted, like usually happens when somebody passes, people post in remembrance a photo of them, the person that's posting on Facebook, with the person that passed, and so a few of those went up, and then connected, just comments and connected to those photos were just remembrance photos of his cartoons, and also his just various photos of the different events and things. So I think that would be good. Yeah, there's a great and the website is like totally open right now, so everybody should be able to enjoy. I hope it's obvious. I gotta edit the wording right away so everybody knows that it's all open. But there's a great video interview that was done. One of his friends, who's a filmmaker, did a kind of a documentary, kind of a just a conversation with him about like kind of history of cartooning and stuff. And there's a little segment at the beginning where he's drawing at his drawing board. So yeah, good stuff. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that they made that documentary before too long. All right, I gotta quit drawing the same thing. Crazy stuff. Oh man. All right. Yeah, I guess our rainy season is kind of back. We had a typhoon go through, and it brought a bunch of rain, and now it's raining again, like every night. So I have no idea what's happening with the seasons here. I'm really worried what that's going to mean for the actual typhoon season. If we're just going to be, under constant onslaught. Yeah, so that's going to make the summer extra long and wet with this weird return of rain. So the mosquitoes are loving it, I'm sure. Yeah, and there's something strange. So, I think I've talked about this already, but the mosquitoes here are weird. They're pretty big. They move very, very slowly. It's like almost like cartoonishly slow. Like they're very easy to kill because they're just like but the poison, or the venom, whatever it is, the anesthetic, I guess is what it is, that the mosquitoes inject so that they can feed, so that you don't feel it, is much more irritating than North American mosquitoes. So you get really, it hurts. So if you're bitten by a mosquito when you're sleeping, you usually don't feel it, but the pain of the bite afterwards wakes you up. It's that painful, and the welt, or the kind of the bite itself, spreads much further, and it's much more red. So whatever they do is a little bit more, and then maybe that's just like an Asian variety of mosquito or something, but whatever they do is a lot more vicious. So there's a lot of kind of topical ointments and things to apply that kind of minimize it, that neutralize that effect, and make it hurt less, because it's brutal. I was really shocked. I was surprised to see how slow they were. So that's why in Asia they've got a lot more mosquito nets and stuff, because the mosquitoes are vicious. It's actually a little more painful than. So I remember getting chewed up pretty bad as a kid. Like getting a bunch of mosquito bites on your legs or whatever from sleeping outside in a tent that wasn't in the backyard, or something that wasn't properly closed. But I couldn't imagine that here. That would be torture, because it's so painful. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no mosquito nets. Just wear a beekeeper suit. Well, and that's why famously they have the mosquito coils here as well. So they're like an incense, an incense on a coil. I think they're made from chrysanthemums or something. They're made from some sort of flower, and they repel. Kind of like the candles, those bug candles in North America. What are those called? Whatever stuff that is, that the smell is supposed to repel the bugs. But I think they kind of get used to it. I think they kind of get over the repellent quality after a while. It seems like. But yeah, you'll see that they've been around for a while, so you'll see that in kind of old Japanese movies and stuff. The mosquitoes, citronella, some empty friend coming in there always when my brain is blank. Yeah, citronella candles and things. So it's a different version of that, and maybe specific to the mosquitoes here, but I don't think it's super effective. But there's a very smell of summer. Those burning incense. To repel mosquitoes are a very summer smell here. You always know. Oh, that's right. So the weird thing is, because after the rainy season is over is when the cicadas start, and so Japan has crazy cicadas, and so in a lot of anime movies and stuff, and even Japanese live action movies, if they want to show something, show a hot scene, like a hot weather, hot summer scene. There's always the sound of cicadas, because that's very, very Japanese, summer, hot weather. But this like weird delay rain thing means they haven't emerged yet. So we're getting this weird delay, because as soon as the rains stop, the cicada emerge and start making all their noise. And I read somewhere that their life, these specific kinds of cicada, I'm having a lot of trouble talking. This specific, and I'm not sure how the variety, but the cicadas that emerge here are born without mouths, because their only job, and maybe that's just the male or the female, maybe that's just like one specific kind, because they are not here to eat, they're only here to reproduce. And they basically reproduce and die. So after they emerge, they have a while where they're calling for a mate, and then they just start flying weird, and like they shut down physically pretty fast. So it's a pretty crazy thing, but I think I read somewhere that they can't eat. Like there's no need for them to sustain. Once they emerge in that form, there's no reason to do anything but look for a date. Yeah. K5 said, and I thought my life was sad. Yeah. At least we can eat, right? We can fail to find dates, but at least we can eat. Yeah. So that's a very bizarre stage of life, but that's the only thing you're supposed to do. Wouldn't that be strange if humans literally had this period, you lived, for 20 years or whatever, and then on your 21st birthday, it's like they sewed up your mouth and they said, your job, you've got 1 week left to live, so you can sip water through this little hole that we left. But otherwise, you've got 1 week before you starve to death. So get out there and reproduce. Uh, yeah, I'm glad we didn't copy anything of cicada culture. Yeah, yeah, that would be that would be such a disturbing. Like some last tribe of humanity decides to devote themselves to the life cycle of the cicada. So, yeah, basically, so they just bury you, just like live in a little underground cave until you're 21, and then emerge with your mouth sewn. Oh man, that's brutal. Oh yeah, they had that. That was the uh in I'm not even going to be able to have enough context clues to even make sense. Abe's Odyssey, that series of video games, the creatures that were just made into food, that were like in the food processing plant, they had their mouths sewn. Like part of the character design was they had their mouths sewn. Oh, that's right, because I think they had some ability, like they had some like if they vocalized, they had some kind of uh, telekinetic ability or something. That's why. No, it wasn't related to anything like that. But was that something world? uh, nice. Oh no, what's going on? I especially for this chat, I turned off. I made the chat like super. Uh, I turned on the filter as much as it would, as far off as it would go. What's going on? I think it's just Yum. I just have Yum's account set to anything that might upset me. And I put all my trigger words in there and anything that Yum might say. That's strange. Oh, wait. What's going on? Where am I? I can't even pull up the right window anymore. Okay, not that. Not that. Oh, okay. I'm so confused. Sorry, let me get that. Yeah, because I don't see the... Oops. The things that... YouTube does. In that combined chat, it doesn't give me anything. What? Yeah, I don't see any release thing. Oddworld, thank you. Some empty friend. God damn, you are amazing. We have a psychic link. All the blanks in my head, some empty friend can fill in. Yeah, Oddworld. The Oddworld games, I remember the characters had their mouths sewn, but I think that was because it took away some ability that they had when they were being slaughtered. Got censored. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I have turned everything to as liberal as possible. Not as liberal politically as the as low filtering as possible. Weird. Yeah, Yum has been shadow banned from too much swag. Exactly. That's exactly. Yeah, weird. Sling that wrench K5. I don't know what's going on. Remember to guard your privacy and abide to our community guidelines. Yes, some empty friend is like has all the pieces that are missing from my brain, which is good. Yeah, I almost have this thing now where if I think too hard about something, I'll never be able to come up with a name because I'll think of something incorrect that sounds like it, and then that just has replaced it basically. Like a wrong name or something just replaces it. So then I can't get there. I can't find it. But if I don't concentrate at all, if I'm just like try to empty my mind, it usually comes much easier. Yeah, I forget who I was. It was one of my. I don't remember if it was at the university or one of my students, and we were sitting there trying to think of two things that one we both couldn't think of the name of one thing, and we both just sat there and then thought of each other's missing word. Yes, you have an excellent memory, some empty friend. Yeah, I don't know what I think. Yeah, I think cut off the oxygen to my brain a little too much, and maybe like sleeping and stuff too. I'm sure I'm not getting enough oxygen, and now it's starting to show. Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, and it's really bad on Livestream, like especially for the weekly thing, the game thing. Somebody brings up something, and I have to think of a name or think of a company, and I screw that up a lot. That's rough. So some empty friend needs to be in every live stream chat. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I wonder what it is. It's just, well, I think it's just, yeah, I have a lot of yeah, just not enough oxygen to my brain while sleeping problems. But I don't want to wear a Darth Vader rig or anything while I'm sleeping. But that would probably help. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's the thing that's so painful. So thinking about that, like all of the knowledge that you acquire, and I guess like the skills, the physical skills as well, like the moment you die, it's all gone. Like unless you wrote it down, unless you were a writer and you publish books and things, everything that you learned in your entire life just spills out. It's like if it was like a bowl of water or whatever, you just pour it out onto the ground and it's just gone. So all of that accumulation of memory and knowledge just disappears. That's the most depressing part, I think, about death of humans, because all creatures, like they lose. Death means the loss of a physical presence, but the death of a human brain is really that's really the hard thing to consider, like how long it took, because just to get our brains, like we are useless things for so long, like we have such a long infancy, that by the time we actually start to think well and do things, it's been a long time. Like it takes a long time to acquire all that ability, language and reasoning and analytical thought and stuff, and then it's just gone, like just gone. That's crazy. All right, I've drawn that already. Bong water. K5 will be like spilling a bong. Yeah, that's true. And somebody's going, and all over the carpet, really? Yum's memory sex. Yeah, it's a funny thing. I think if you just don't, and that's the thing too, is like the impulse to Google, instead of like, wait, I'm gonna remember this. The impulse to say, actor in E.T., like the stupid things that we Google now, like we don't reinforce those pathways, because I guess like the way our memory's connected, we're going through like a web kind of network of connected memories, and it's very complicated, and the less you use that, the less access you have to that. So to always be constantly recalling information reinforces those kind of pathways, the ways that your things are stored in your head. And if you are just like Google, then of course you're gonna be stuck Googling everything. Yeah. K5 loves Google. I can't break them up. I won't say anything bad about your Google anymore, K5. Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird compromise, though. Think about that we're not thinking in those terms, but we have access to so much information now, and so much like interrelated things, the way that you can go into like a Wikipedia hole and just kind of be clicking through hyperlinks through subjects of categories of things and histories, and more into every detail and explanation of something. We have access to that, but at the cost of our own being able to have that information and recall it on our own. So which is better, having the limited amount of information you would collect in your life, and being able to access that, or accessing everything, but at the then being kind of hostage to that is where all of your information is stored. And then it comes, then you think about things like having to trust Wikipedia. Trust the information on Wikipedia. That's even worse. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're compromising. We're giving up something in that trade. And I don't know if it's necessarily good. And the weird thing, the thing that's difficult now is, oops, wrong layer, of course, is how that access to information is making everybody an expert. When something happens, everybody does a quick Google search, and suddenly they're forensics experts and virology experts. And, so when things like the pandemic and stuff happen, people suddenly think they know much more than they do. And we don't acknowledge the value, or kind of how people are educated now, where your education is so incredibly specialized that you're an expert in a very specific area, but it may not be something that you can it may not be general knowledge that can actually be shared with laymen, or people outside of that expertise. Okay, that doesn't look at all. It's way too fat. And that handle is way too chubby too. I was trying to do let's try again. Like a thin, kind of slick looking briefcase. What's going on? There we go. Oh, I guess I'm zoomed in too much. Oof. Hello. There we go. Black. Yeah, but that's getting really weird, because that's why we've got flat earthers and everything. People think they know so much more than they do. And are willing to well, I haven't seen I have never seen that. Okay. And all photos are lies. All videos and photos are lies. And I've never seen it, so it doesn't exist. But we've never been to the moon anyhow, so that was just a goes above. That was just a collaboration between Hollywood and the government. Oh man. Why am I trying so hard to draw a briefcase? There's no good briefcase jokes. Okay, so wait. Of course it's on the wrong layer. Okay, I don't think any of that was worth it. Anyhow. Yes, the Antarctic is just an ice wall completely around the edge of the world. So that's where I'm going. As soon as I feel like it's late in life, I'm headed for the edge. That would be cool, though, if that existed, because probably be a much easier suicide than any other. Off the edge of the world might be better than off the edge of a building. All right, and then I'll put some like latch on here. All right. That's way off center. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna fuss with this anymore. This is looking terrible. Oh, what a week. Oh, Moon is a hologram. I agree with that. That's true. That's how they know. when there's going to be all these events and things, because they just changed the hologram machine. It's going to be a blood moon. Okay, let me. Where is that? Where's that setting? Man. Yeah, way too zoomed in. There we go. All right. Nice. Oh, did anyone see the first full color images from NASA's? Oh, no. Oh, that's cool. I love, I love some of the pictures that they've been posting the stuff from Mars and stuff. Especially they did the panorama stuff from the Mars rover photos and stuff. That's very cool. I mean, that's like probably a decade ago now. But I thought that was cool. Uh-oh, I'm Googling. K5's got me Googling. I should have just imagined these. Oh my gosh. Wow, really cool. I think the space is still, I think the space that was photographed is still somewhere in the 1960s. That looks like 1960s sci-fi space. Wow. Whoa. That's insane. Yeah, I've seen so much computer, like so many computer graphics try to simulate stuff, but to see the real photos, that's crazy. I should be sharing this somehow. Wait a minute here. Yeah, let's take a break from my terrible drawing and try something else here. How about, wait, okay, put this over here. Okay, and let's try this. Yes, okay. So let's maximize this. Okay, this. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Okay. Yeah, very cool. Look at that. Oh, so this is the Gemini South telescope. But that's insane that is space. I guess that's all gases and nonsense. Oh, is this, have we got the right one? Yeah. July 10th, 2022. And here is the Southern Ring Nebula, known as the 8-burst nebula. That is insane. Yeah, as we get more... Whoa. A quintet of galaxies is made up of 4 galaxies that are actually near each other. And the 5th appears nearby, is really in the foreground, much closer to Earth. Wow. Yeah, these are insane. And there's a ad. Oh, and there's a Prime deal. Oh, that's all that's it. Wow. Yeah, it's so unreal, like the actual, and also when they have, now that we have like 4K video and stuff of the Earth from space, it doesn't look real. Like, it's so amazing, the lighting and everything. Oh, thank you, K5. Fake. Yeah, I'm just fake. That's Photoshop. Get out of here with that. So fake. That's just another one of those Kubrick projects that the government did. That's amazing. Oh yeah, there's the one. Let me try to... Wait, what's going on? I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, there we go. That's the one that first came up in Google. I love how 60s sci-fi that looks. That's great. With the flare, like the flared stars. Ooh, whose video is this? I maybe shouldn't play it on stream. NASA and Biden. Oh, thank you, Biden. Biden did a lot of work for that. That's great. I'm glad that we have him to show us space. Yeah, yeah, very 2001. It has a very 60s feel. Thanks, K5. Oh, wow. So all the spike lights are nearby stars and the others are galaxies. That's crazy until I see the spaghetti monster. Oh, I hope we don't. I hope we don't find that. Then we all have to believe. Oh, man. Yeah, that's so cool. Sad thing is, probably more and more the amazing discoveries, the astronomical, if that's the right word, uh, the discoveries from space are probably all going to start coming from China. The U.S. is just going to sadly decline into. That doesn't that doesn't look like a nice pillow. Into irrelevancy with space. I hope they keep at it, but I think China is because China's got its like kind of SETI thing too, right? Its big ears facing it, listening to the there was some headline about that the China heard some extraterrestrial like radio signal recently, and they're not sharing it with anybody, so they'll be the first to strike the deal with China. Oh yeah, somebody else was saying too that this uh, space tourism push is also and like further exploration is also a push to get out to get mineral rights off of Earth, because that's going to be the next big not the next one, but the next maybe far future one, but the person to get off Earth and actually create space tourism that would like bring things back and forth would have access to insane amounts of minerals and things that would make somebody or some country a trillionaire overnight. And that's what is it? Oh, electric cars. That's the thing that they're talking about, because I guess the metals or the minerals needed for the batteries for electric cars now, like lithium or whatever, is so much of that is controlled by China. And so if the whole West is going to be switching to electric cars, then they're going to be beholden to China. It's going to be like the new oil princes, China is going to be the mineral the mineral empire, and we're going to have to go begging to China to make batteries for our electric cars. That's ridiculous. So yeah, getting to the moon or whatever would help help expand mineral rights, whatever minerals there are there. But that's why there's interest. That's what they're saying, that there's private interest in space tourism, because the actual motive is mineral rights outside of the Earth. It's so depressing. Yeah, but what kind of conspiracy does that sound like, though? All this like weird push for electric cars, and all that is putting us in the hands of like China. Like, oh, you need the thing that we almost exclusively have. Yeah, that was bizarre. Yeah, that was the thing that they said when America left Afghanistan. The first thing that happened was China moved in and made a deal for lithium in Afghanistan, because they have lithium mines, and batteries use lithium. So that was the first thing China did. Brilliant. I mean, brilliant on the sarcastically brilliant on the part of the U.S. Oh man. All right. Oh yeah. I can't imagine. And that's the thing that's scary about China, is no dirty industry or anything scares them. That's why I read somewhere that that's why they are the like leading manufacturer of solar panels, because solar panels is a really brutal process. Like the manufacturing is really dangerous and difficult, but they don't care. Like they don't care about endangering workers or surrounding communities or whatever. So when the U.S. manufactures solar panels, they do it in this slow, kind of safer, more careful way, and they just can't compete. So that's why we're buying all of our solar panels from China, because they're like, yeah, fuck it. Human life, get out of here. We don't need to care about that. Or air quality or anything. Yeah, well, we're driving our stupid electric cars. China's got all their coal-powered electric plants burning. What a waste of time. So then what are we going to do? Go to war for... there's going to be a war against China for the environment? We need to protect the environment. You're never going to get India and China in line with all of this nonsense. Oops. Ugh, water. I remember a long time ago hearing about some dude getting assassinated because he invented... Oh, yeah, the way to run engines on water. Right. Yeah, that was the... I think I watched some, like, YouTube thing about that. Yeah, he just got killed. And we don't have anything, we don't have any alternatives. He just ended up dead. So don't invent anything too good that you're not willing to give the government rights to. Yeah, but I forget when that was, if it was like in the 70s or 80s. But yeah, because can you imagine going up against Detroit when they actually had some power? That would be terrifying. Oops. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's oof. Yeah, I can't even imagine being stuck in a car on fire and like all the locks and everything are electronic, so they're just like, yeah, no, everything's fine. Just remain seated. We haven't detected a fire yet, so this lack of oxygen you're experiencing is just an illusion. Yeah, there's going to be... I wrote that one of the Nmity Stories is about that, like somebody becoming obsessed with that, because yeah, basically they're going to have to... A human is going to have to tell AI, give AI its value system. And so if the car, if this AI controlled, like driverless car has to either kill an old woman or a kid, it has to make some sort of value judgment about who it should and shouldn't, what's the least bad thing to happen in an emergency, and that's going to have to be like somehow in there. So that's really depressing to think that we're just gonna... But that already exists now, not in AI, but in legal systems and stuff. Like your life, and in like the judgments of companies you could work for, or your local government or whatever. Like they already make judgments about how much you're worth and how much endangering you and poisoning the water and you drink and everything is actually worth. They're always making those risk assessments, like that thing in Fight Club, the Ed Norton character talking about that he works for the car companies, and they just make an assessment whether they should recall a car, recall a model of car because of faulty equipment, based on how many people have been killed. So is it easier to pay off the families or to recall and fix the problem? So we're already up against that, but with AI and automation, it's going to get even scarier. Like when we're right up against like the exact value of our lives. That's really Brutal. Uh, Remain calm as your life is extracted. Yeah, and once we get to that point too, they're gonna have to let us have like suicide booths and all kinds of stuff. Once the system has determined how useless you are. As soon as you feel that, you're going to be a very useless member of society. So they'll have to just let you go. Hey, Skinless. How's it going? And Elixario. Nice. Good to see you. Dwight Schrute. Oh, man. That's brutal. I got to change I'm definitely changing my glasses. Oh, man. But yeah, we're all going to be up against the judgment of artificial intelligence. Yikes. I have not come up with anything good. But yeah, so who knows? And it's funny that already the Teslas are like a status symbol thing. They're like Apple Watches or whatever. Like people want them just for the status. And we're gonna, going around any sort of safety just because of fashion. So I guess though, to have status is worth burning alive in your car. And who knows, like what's actually burning when a battery in an electric car is burning? Oof, who even knows what's burning? That's got to be some fumes. Yeah, and we haven't even dealt with how do you process a car, an unwanted or an unusable electric car, or even hybrid cars. Like what do you have to do? You're not just going to take into a junkyard and have them crushed because they've got like really nasty batteries in them. So there's gonna have to be a whole expensive process of like extracting the battery and properly disposing of it. It's gonna be our new like nuclear waste. Is all this like filthy electric car battery disposal. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't like looked for it, but I haven't heard anything about that. And I'm sure it's happening in the U.S. too. But now there's a full electric Prius. Toyota has a full electric Prius now. I don't know why they kept that name. Oh, and wait a minute. Let me see if I can find this other thing. Nissan has a new electric car that's supposed to be... Oh, well, it's okay. It's supposed to be super cute, but yeah, it looks like all the other little electric cars. Yeah, they all really look the same recently. It's hard to even tell without the emblem from the maker. It's really hard to tell car design apart, like the models of cars. The same level of car looks pretty identical in Japan. The differences between like Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, and Nissan are pretty non-existent. That's weird. You'd think you'd want like a stronger identity. But maybe that might be a Japanese thing too, because I think I told you about local junkyards had to remove batteries from EVs and send it off with traditional batteries. Oh, okay. And just scrap the body. Yeah. So they gotta pull. Yeah, they gotta pull out the batteries. Yeah, moonshine. Oh, that's right. I gotta do the 3 X's on a moonshine jug. Yes, that's what I should do. Yeah, everything's getting too cartoony, or like based on cartoon objects. Yeah, I wonder if that was actually a thing. The X's. Yeah, because I definitely have seen those in cartoons a ton of times. I wonder if that was actually a way they marked like high proof alcohol. Oh, it might be, because that might be an easy, like a simple way for like bootleggers to indicate the potency of something. You know, like 1X meant this and 2X's meant something. Yeah, because you don't have time to name all of that. Yeah, we're in this really weird, like squinty, plasticky looking weird car design, especially, I mean, yeah, especially in Japan. I wish they would. There is a company that does weird retro models, like they're modern cars, but they do these weird um, nostalgia models. Daihatsu in Japan does these really, like, you have to see these cars and it looks like a weird like a classic car, like an old roadster or something, but it's like new, it's modern, and it looks fake, like that, you know, you'll see it and think, oh, that's interesting, and then immediately like, oh, okay. Yeah, like these guys. Oh, am I doing another sharing thing? Wait, are there more pictures? Yeah. Yeah, so Daihatsu does a couple of different. There's even more than this, but they do a couple of different. Here we go, showing and telling again. They do ranges like this, so these like little Sportster kind of coupes, and especially like the ones on the left. When you see them, you're like, it's kind of like a double take. They look old. They look like somebody has like done a crazy, you know, restoration on a little roadster. So yeah, Daihatsu does a lot of these like weird retro design cars. Is that it? Oh, no, that's it. Yeah. So their newest one, the Copen at the end, yeah, that looks very retro, and especially like the colors of the interior and stuff, and even the dial. Well, not so much. Yeah, it's pretty modern inside, but sometimes the dials and stuff have a weird retro look as well. Lots of showing and telling. Yeah, there's a couple of other models that they do that are very like strange, nostalgic designs. It's funny, and then they do the classic kind of plasticky-looking Japanese cars. Uh, yeah, it's funny. Hmm. All right. A moonshine jug for for yum. Mm-mm. Oh yeah. Fallout has that really cool. Yeah, that kind of like 40s. It's kind of like a, yeah. I think the more recent one is like 1950s, but that, yeah, that classic kind of Art Deco look, which was like 30s and 40s. Yeah, that's really cool. Uh, yeah, with the uh, follow the shelter, the little uh, guys from the shelter, their little kind of mascot character, the something boy. It's not the Pip Boy. The Pip Boy is the thing on your wrist, but the um, what are the Vault Boy? Yeah, is that what he's called? I think so. He's got like a Vault uniform on, so the little Vault Boy is illustrates all of the skills and everything. All right. Oh, yeah, I should do a yeah. So like a classic. Let me see, a classic moonshine kind of jug. See if I can remember. Yeah, but it's one of those that has the opening with the cork. Oops. With the cork, but also this handle. Yeah, this deal. Boom. The little place to put your finger when you're drinking it over your shoulder. Uh, Something like that. Maybe a little bit more here. All right. There we go. Just for Yum. The triple X. Oh no, he's got a bad eye. The triple X. Moonshine jug. All right. Yes. Alcoholism pride. Nice. Yeah, you can get this as a tattoo on your forearm and have it say "Don't serve me" underneath. So, if you fall asleep on the bar and they read your arm, they'll know. Nice. Okay, I'll save that. All right. What else? Oh, yeah, I've got to make some stickers. I think there are places that will do the sticker sheet with they'll do the cutout. So you send them the graphic and then you send them the cut line. So I've got to do that because everything I've looked at has been here in Japan has been you have to basically produce it yourself. Like they print it, but you have to lay it out, give them the files, and then they produce it more like a Kinko's, like a service bureau kind of deal. So I've had enough. Nice. Nice. I've had enough. Yeah, I better write that down or I'm gonna forget. See if I can. This is why I don't letter my own cartoon. Oh, my touch is bad. Do like that kind of A. Move this over. Yeah, I'll do the maybe do the yeah, my lettering is terrible. I just wanted to remember what you said. Yeah, it's probably better to do it this way. Okay. Much better. Okay. Let me get rid of this. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, yeah, I gotta be paying attention. There we go. A complete Yum cartoon. With double meaning. Let me do that a little bit. It'll scale back up. Nice. Oh, is that even visible? I'm not even like watching the yeah. That was visible. I gotta fix the chat window, maybe shrink Photoshop and put the chat so it's actually readable, because it's a waste to have it white on white like that. Of course it is. You're welcome, Yum. Get something. Uh-oh, something done today. Oh, wait. Yeah, so maybe just another hour. Oof, I gotta get something done. Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna actually use. Yeah, I gotta finish something today. I think I might use Yum's cartoon officially, because I think that's a cute idea. Okay, I might have to... Oh, so I'll duplicate it. I'll keep that and then duplicate one to scale up because the eyes are going to change. I'll need to do mouse eyes, mouse click eyes. So let's do that. So boom, this one and this. And I think just get rid of all of this. Yeah, I got a deadline now. I got a hard out at 5:30, so I got to get something done here. Too much Sharon. Nice. Yeah, I'll make that a graphic for you. Yum, when I get a little bit of time. There we go. And this one, will go, the eyes have to go above here. Actually, I'll color it first. Oh, so another hour. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So another hour should be fine. But I've been dawdling too much. I got a little bit of a late start. But we'll get it going here. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then a cork kind of color. Something like that. And then that reddish glaze. Maybe more red. Am I on the right track here? Let's see. It's lighter, isn't it? I'm thinking, like, yeah, that color, that's pretty close. Something like that. Alright. I guess I'll do the shadows next. Yeah, it's going to be a busy week. Yikes. Alright. Yeah, unexpected busyness, and not in a fun way. That's the thing that sucks. It's a very sad thing to be doing, to be taking down that website, or repurposing it. All right, maybe a couple of yeah. There we go. Yeah, I think this will work. Something like that. You catch that edge. Forget it. All right. I'll do eyes here. Yeah, so they look more regular. What's going on? Wow, I'm getting a little memory deal again. Okay. All right. Maybe here. Yeah. There he is. Nice. And anything on this one? We have a... Maybe we'll do all drinks. All drinks all the time. These two. break room coffee mug. Yes. So he admired the permanence, the endurance, something about a break room coffee mug. Because he's a little paper cup. All right. Let's see. Scale-wise, that's way too small. Should he be on this side? Yeah, maybe. I like when the handle of the mug looks like an ear. You know what? Maybe they should do the mug a little stained or something, and have it be kind of a weird pattern, like one of those ugly fake like country patterns. So like some blue trim or something. Let's see how this looks. Oh, cool. Thanks, K5. Yeah, I was worried. I was trying to get that, that glazed look. It's funny the way that kind of comes to you, and it's also interesting too the way that colors don't look right unless they're against the other color, like so that it's like the contrast or the some ugly pattern on this mug. It's in context that they work well or they look right. So it's always like picking that first color kind of sets everything. Oh, maybe not dots because those look like eyes. Or just put them up here. So some really ugly, odd pattern on the mug, and maybe inside is actually just white. Like one of those weird fake. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So the colors relative to each other. Yeah, that was one of the first things that the oil painting teacher taught, is that edge to edge and color against color, and it's amazing how things change once you have the right colors against each other, and when things are really set off. Well, it's amazing. Like it's really, and I think a lot of people that do digital art know that well, but I want this to make sure this looks very paper cup though, so I guess I'll have to say it anyhow. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that was shocking to me, just to see how easily the teacher could create that look, and maybe some coffee stains too will be good. Totally change the whole canvas just by putting a couple colors right against each other, and it like changes depth and intensity and everything. It's really insane. All right. Something like that. And he will have to be shiny, a little bit shiny. But how, let me see. Let's try to put some coffee stains on the mug and see if it works. That kind of gross, never coming off kind of coffee stain. Let's see here. So maybe like a multiply and then fade it into the enamel. Maybe a little bit down here too. Yuck. Yuck. All right. So I wanted to look, yeah, kind of like weathered and, an ancient mug that has endured many hand washings in a break room. All right. There we go. Just a little drop shadow and we'll be all set. Yeah, I've enjoyed that about this cartoon is trying to, bring objects out of my like memory, out of my childhood and stuff, and try to recreate the feel of them. Hopefully, it feels authentic. If I'm trying to base it on an actual memory, hopefully it feels that makes it feel authentic, even if it's not correct. It at least looks. Yeah, there we go. All right. Whoa, a very minimal week this week. Nice. So we've got our jug and our mug. All right. Target practice. Nice. All right. Oh yeah, very birthday cake looking, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I did draw a lot. Like in elementary school, I really loved. Yeah, just drawing like little monsters and characters and stuff. I really loved. The Godzilla movies and stuff. So I liked, sci-fi monsters and things like that. But yeah, I guess it was always the escape. Like always, art class was my favorite thing. And in elementary school, it wasn't really art class. It was more like arts and crafts. You're like doing silly, glazed ashtrays and stuff. So there wasn't much art instruction. But yeah, but I always loved those simple like construction paper projects and stuff. I always finished the first version, what was required, and then always tried to do like uh, variations on that theme. Like if we were doing some character, some type of thing, I would try to do another version that had that was a different character or different use a different idea to construct it or whatever. If using like a paper cup for the body of like a puppet or whatever, I would try to do something with the you know changing it somehow. So that was always fun. Uh, no, I don't. I mean, now I'm really limited to just drawing. I did a lot of, I did some casting and sculpture and things. I really thought I wanted to do metal work for a while, and that was the cool thing about school in Chicago is especially your first year they kind of force you to try everything. They want you to just choose a few different things, and so people do stuff like if they come there to do painting and drawing, which is what the school was most known for. But they ended up doing fabric design or metal work or jewelry or something that would actually could take you into a whole nother kind of area. But I liked sculpture and metalwork. I always liked um, and that's why I worked at a stained glass studio for a while that did restoration of the old antique stained glass in Chicago, and that was fun because I liked like enamel and kind of doing metalwork and then doing different enameling and uh, stuff on that. But it didn't end up turning out to be anything regular. And the difficulty with choosing something that needs kind of facilities, where you need a kiln or torches or you need an anvil or something. That's not something you can have in an apartment as a student, so that's always difficult. Yeah, I really love metal sculpture and like yeah, a lot of it was just kind of like uh weird objects, like kind of fantasy objects, because I got obsessed. There was a huge, amazing armor collection at the Chicago medieval armor collection at the Chicago Museum, and I got obsessed with some of like the weird shapes of horse armor and kind of the strange little details of armor. So I would do things that were just like shapes based on some of that, like the how the top of the head and the kind of over the eyes is protected on horses and things. So I did like weird objects that were kind of based on that and had some patterns and stuff. So yeah, just kind of studying some of the forms and stuff. So that was the metal stuff that I did, but I never got very far. Yeah, with that, just because it requires some pretty tough facilities. And once you're not a student anymore and don't have access to that, like they had a huge, amazing wood shop there and a great metal shop. But once you're not a student there anymore, I guess you should probably try to get a teaching job or something. But once you don't have that, it's really expensive and hard to recreate that. And you have to, be able to make money career-wise as at that. And that seemed a little too impossible. And I gravitated towards animation anyhow, which is even more expensive. It doesn't require facilities, but to make anything is so expensive and time-consuming. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can go through. They're not really old, maybe like 10 years old, but I can go through some sketchbooks and stuff. That might be fun. Yeah, all my really old stuff is in storage in the U.S., so I don't have access to it. But yeah, I can dig up some old sketchbooks. Oh no. Yeah, that'll be fun though. Embarrassing and fun at the same time. All right. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I don't have. I have. Yeah, I have really early stuff. I have like because we had a bookmaking class in like first or second grade, and it was just like laminated laminated construction paper covers. But they did this, so they sewed the pages and then bound them, and there's tape on the binding. But yeah, it's just it's a simple kids project. But I can show you like my early Godzillas, which are terrible, but fun. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did. Yeah, some some sculpture like that. Yeah, the big wire. You have the big giant block of clay, and you cut the hunk off of it, the wire. Yeah, we had to do that. I think all high schools have that. The potting wheels, the kick wheels. They're not electric. The wheels you have to kick the big cement kind of disc under your feet, and then to turn the wheel. But yeah, just those giant blocks of clay. Yeah, I didn't ever do much with ceramics. Okay, I'll dig those. I'll dig those books up. Hopefully for next time. I think if I remember, I think I can do it for next time. Crazy. Yeah, I think my first book that I did was Godzilla versus Gamera, because I didn't know what monster was who. So Gamera is actually the wrong monster. Yeah, but you'll see how wrong I was. All right, so let's do some quick comments. Oh, I think I've already got this somewhere. Where is it? All right. Take a look at some comments. Boom. Hey, that looks familiar. All right. So I don't think this hasn't gone out. Let's see. No, not yet. Okay, so we'll save that for next time. So the 7th of the weird tea kettle. Being boiled alive did not sound either relaxing or fun. Oh, wow. The violent death cartoons are oh, it's inspiring. We're not letting the tea loose these days. Nice. Ideally, you boil the water or nearly boil it, depending on your taste and where you come from. Remove from the heat and then put in the tea. Oh, interesting. Yeah, and always, I didn't know that too, that in England or Europe, wherever, you're supposed to if you put milk in the tea, you put it in first so that it doesn't scald. So that when you're introducing the tea, hot, super hot tea, that it doesn't scald the milk. If you pour the milk into super hot tea, it instantly scalds the milk and gets all funky. Being tied into a little bag made it even worse. Whoa, people are riffing. Nice. Oh man. Just ask crabs and lobsters. Yeah, right. Yikes. You boil the water, then pour the water into the teapot wherein you place the tea to brew. What's the little bag with the string? That's your bag, man. Oh, nice. Yeah, I did the image is like kind of weird and wrong, but it was what I had drawn. That's funny. All right. It's funny what strikes people. I think we did this. I thought I did this. Not enough bottles were considered unsafe for children and adults. All right. He couldn't imagine. Oh, I did this already. Couldn't imagine having more than 2 flavors. Common Mormon spoon. Get the program. Get with the program. I don't know what that means. And I think we saw this one as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. The bunnies. So here's a couple of randoms. Ew. From what the lint roller could pick up, a roll of tape seemed to live a more dignified life. There's a pun. A fuzzy lint roller. Oh, there we go. He was suddenly very afraid of a hard day's work. The old cone finally knew what it was truly like to be tired. Truly be tired. Oh, tired. Like hit with a tire. Oh yeah, I must have done this on stream. This is 2021. This doesn't look familiar though. I did this last year. I don't recognize that cartoon at all. So bizarre. Okay, yeah, I've already. Tired. Such a shame the old guy was set to retire next week. Nice. Old cone finally knew. Yeah, did I do this too? Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I don't remember. There we go. That's a very Japanese can of coffee. So coffee from a vending machine was not what they expected. Damn it, Joe. You're welcome. Nice. All right. And March 1st. Oh, yeah, candles. Most candles wish they were never lit. Oh, that explains why some folks never let their light shine. Oh, there we go. What else? Poor pig. Yeah, that right. It is a pig, isn't it? All right. Okay. Oh man, time is flying. Jeez, I had an hour like 10 minutes ago. Okay, they're ready to accept that anything made instantly from a box may be food. Okay, I operate on the same principle. All right, enough of those. Yeah, we'll get that next one from for next time. All right, so I don't know if I'm even gonna have time. Let's go straight. Let's go straight to the. I think I'm gonna have to write the cartoons off stream, but you may get you'll get I think what I was trying to do with both of those. Yeah, I'll do those off stream because I've only got 10 more minutes. So let me switch over to this. All right. So here we are with the first in our summer snacks. For me, this is very stand food. So very summer snacks. So here is the Japanese take on churros. So Twist Churros, and actually it does say cinnamon and sugar flavor. So I was worried there were going to be soy sauce because you can't quite tell. Oh, her hair is keying out, but you can't quite tell from the image if it's going to be soy sauce or if it's actually going to be sweet. So this is Sanshin, which we've seen before, and they always have kind of the retro characters on the packages. And yeah, they've been okay. The snacks have been okay, not like insanely good. But I love the weird retro thing. And let's see what Japanese think churros are supposed to taste like. All right. Oh, pretty big. Like the size of a crinkle French fry. Look at that. Yeah, weird texture though. I was expecting. I guess. Oh, because it's the kind of the long vertical ends on a churro, but twisted. I get it. So it is a twist, and maybe they broke more easily if they weren't twisted. Oh, smells good. Cinnamon. Wow. Not very sugary though. That's weird. So churros, are they cooked with butter or something? Because this is a little buttery. It's buttery with not enough sugar and definitely a lot of cinnamon. The coating is kind of soft though. That's weird. But you can see it would be like a churro texture, but they took the whole thing and twisted it. It makes it little bit more rigid, I guess. But yeah, the flavor's okay. It's not that, because churros are usually, they've got sugar on them, like actually granulated sugar. This is kind of just a sweetness on top. Legendary outro, just That's all. Yeah, that's all I should do with all of these. Just pour them down my throat and chew the whole bag on stream. Yeah, so they're not bad. The middle is like a crunchy crunchy Cheeto in texture. It's very not much flavor, and everything is on the outside. Yeah, they're surprisingly the coating on the outside is kind of soft though. It's weird. So they must make that inside and then coat them in something, because there's, you can kind of tell from the little cross section there. There's a coating or something on the outside. Legendary outro. All right. Well, Twist Churros are okay. The flavor is really mild. More cinnamon than anything else, which is strange because I think a lot of Japanese people do not like cinnamon. So I would be surprised how popular these were. Okay. So the first of our summer snacks is a success. Yeah. Very close. Very agreeable. I mean, it'd be nice if they were baked. So that's the heat of a churro is also the nice part of it. But yeah, I guess they're trying to, with that weird cutting, they're trying to simulate maybe the butter or the melted sugar over the outside. All right, so Twist Churros from Sunshine. Thumbs up. And there's more summer snacks to come, so stay tuned. All right. So, sorry about that. So I'm going to have to wrap things up. And I'll do the writing off screen. I need K5 from my producer on the stream. Just scarf the whole bag and let's get out of here. So more chewing. So yeah, sorry about the sad opening to the stream and that we ran out of time. But we'll do this again soon. So next week, as a matter of fact. So take care, and thanks so much for tuning in. K5, Unknown Girl, Yum, some Twitch people that dropped in, and of course some empty friend for filling in all my blanks. I really appreciate that. And Matt too. I think Matt had to get to bed. I started a little late. It's probably towards the end of the evening. But yeah, look for Matt and I this Friday because Chris is out. So I think Matt and I are going to try to do the weekly together. So look for that. And you can see what Matt looks like. And I will see everybody again soon. So abusecartoons.com, Abuse Cartoons on social media, and patreon.com/abusecartoons. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you again next time. Sorry for the quick out, but I'll make it up to you next week. Take care and goodbye.